youtube.com/Mugen Lord. Subscribe to the channel for gaming news, updates, discussion, and live streams. Signing off.
Hey guys, this is Mugen Lord here, and I'm back again with another video. And today I just want to do a quick review slash discussion video. So it's going to be a different format than how I usually do my movie reviews, because yesterday, if you guys don't know, it was the official release of the English dub of Super Dragon Ball Broly. And I must say that I really enjoyed the film, and I just wanted to give you my thoughts and my opinions on the film. And it's kind of like a little review and of course a discussion, and it's going to have some spoilers in it. So if you guys haven't seen the movie, I advise you to click off this video and come back to it later. But if you guys don't care about spoilers and you already seen the film, or you just don't care about being spoiled, then you can sit here and just listen to what I have to say. So let us begin with this quick review. Now, for starters, I just want to say that the presentation, like the experience altogether, was quite thrilling. I really enjoyed it because we got a chance to watch a movie pretty much with other Dragon Ball fans, and everyone was able to be themselves, have a good time, you know, cheer, laugh together and everything. And I thought it was quite fun. Everybody was screaming and yelling in the movie theater. It was just such a fun experience, especially if you're an anime fan, when they had these little anime specials at the movie theaters. So as far as the movie tone is concerned, this movie especially at the very beginning, it had a nice little dark and a quite serious tone to it, which I really like my Dragon Ball series to have, because I think Dragon Ball has a lot of potential to go into, especially in different directions as far as the tone is concerned, and it can add some interesting story elements. And at the beginning, it really had this little dark serious tone as far as the origin of the Saiyans and their relationship with Frieza and everything, and I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, as far as the art design is concerned, I think by far, as far as anime is concerned, anime movies, because I don't really watch much anime movies, but as far as this anime movie is concerned, this is one of the most beautifully drawn animations I've ever seen hit the big screen. Now, you thought Spider-Man, the Spider-Man cartoon that came out recently in the movie theaters, was pretty good as far as the animation and the artistic vision and style that it had. Well, you haven't seen nothing if you have not seen this movie yet. This movie is extremely gorgeous. The hand-drawn characters, the visual effects, and it also has some 3D models in there, some CG effects that kind of remind me of Dragon Ball FighterZ in a way, which I thought was pretty interesting. It was just beautiful. I mean, Toriyama and Toei Animation really put their all in regards of the animation. And if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you're definitely going to love this animation. And even if you're not a Dragon Ball fan, you just love anime in general, if you used to watch this movie, your jaws is going to drop like to the floor, completely drop to the floor. So I'm just saying right now, hold on to your seatbelts, because it's one hell of a ride as far as the visuals concerned. Now, as far as the action for this film, the action is pretty intense. Now, there's a divide between the Dragon Ball community as far as how people want to experience their Dragon Ball films. A lot of people who pretty much watched Dragon Ball during the time it was released here on Toonami in America, which a lot of people were introduced to the franchise, would always look at Dragon Ball and associate Dragon Ball with a lot of high intense action. And then those who pretty much watched Dragon Ball since the original Dragon Ball run that was in, you know, Japanese with the subtitles and everything, know that Dragon Ball is pretty much a martial arts comedy. So a lot of fans are broken between, hey, this is a comedy, so I don't know why people associate Dragon Ball with high intense action, and that's all people want is just action from Dragon Ball. And then you have the community, you have the other side who just love just the action aspects and don't really like the comedy aspects as much as they do the action and stuff. But this pretty much blends a couple of those aspects together. But as far as the action concerned, this film was pretty much an action porn. Everything an action Dragon Ball fan want in their Dragon Ball experience, as far as the anime is concerned, as far as action, you got it all here. It's intense action from beginning to end. It's just crazy. Like you just sit there and you're like, wow, like how much more can they put into the visual effects, how much more they can put into the fight itself. Your jaws just drop to the floor. It's just incredible, and I enjoy every last segment of the action. And I know those of you who love action in Dragon Ball, you're definitely gonna love it. They did not disappoint in that aspect. So that was pretty much my opinion on as far as the experience is concerned. So, and from my notes here, we're going to move down into the story aspect. Now, the story is quite interesting, and like I said before, Dragon Ball is not heavily story centered, and I would like Dragon Ball to be a little bit more story centered, you know, within the franchise, because I think there's a lot of interesting characters that you can, and a lot of plot elements that can be like really sort out, or it can be really explored a lot more, that can give us some more interesting characters, more story development and everything like that. But with this one, as far as the story is concerned, they kind of like retcon a few elements of the backstory between the Saiyans and the relationship with Frieza quite a bit, and I thought it was pretty interesting because they decided to go with a bunch of story at the first half of the movie, and then the last half is just complete action. So at the beginning, they pretty much introduced King Cold, and what I found interesting was because when watching Dragon Ball, you always got this thing to where you always just knew about Frieza and the Saiyans and their relationship. Now, what they did was, it was King Cold who pretty much stumbled upon the Saiyans and pretty much used them as his slaves to rule with his empire and everything. He contracted them and everything, and then what happened was King Cold pretty much retired. He didn't want to pretty much run this whole thing with the Saiyans anymore, so he pretty much passed the ruling power over the Saiyans to his son Frieza. And what I found interesting was King Vegeta and the rest of the Saiyans were kind of like planning how they was going to do a mutiny against Frieza and against King Cold. So at this point, when they came outside, they wasn't expecting that King Cold was going to introduce them to their son Frieza. And King Cold warned them that, hey, yo, this is my son. If you thought I was a terror, my son is worse than me. So he's going to be left in charge. And King Vegeta thought that, hey, you know, now that he's retiring from, you know, ruling over us, maybe we have our freedom. But no, he said, no, my son is left in charge now. And also, Frieza was the one that introduced him to the new scouter technology that they had. And Frieza had put the scouter on and realized that King Vegeta had Saiyans with sniper rifles aimed at him and everything. And then to show off his power, he pretty much killed those towers, killed all the Saiyans in those towers and everything. So King Vegeta pretty much couldn't do anything about it, and I thought that was pretty interesting in how they went with that. Now, on to King Vegeta. They did a little bit more backstory with his character. King Vegeta, of course, this is where Vegeta get his attitude from. It's from his father. He's very prideful, arrogant, and everything. And pretty much, he seen his son Vegeta because his son had potential to be one of the most powerful Saiyans, you know, in his race. And he thought, and he seen that his son was going to be the next powerful king, and he seen his son as the next Saiyan that can pretty much overthrow Frieza, and their people can get their freedom back. And I thought it was pretty interesting, and it also showed another aspect of King Vegeta that we never seen before. He had a jealous aspect to him as well, is because Paragus, the father of Broly, Broly was placed in the same chamber as Vegeta, and where this chamber is at is where most of the Saiyans, or the powerful Saiyans, are placed in, and they placed together. And he felt as though that a low-class Saiyan, a peasant such as Paragus, how dare his son be next to Vegeta, you know, the prince of all Saiyans? And come to find out that Broly had power that superseded Vegeta's. So the thing was, Paragus got jealous of that, and King Vegeta had got jealous of that. And when Paragus came in and found out that they were going to send his son away, because King Vegeta also discovered that he had this latent ability that could be dangerous throughout the whole entire galaxy and even their race. That's how powerful he was. So they wanted to ship Broly off into a distant planet that pretty much had no inhabitants or had no life or whatever like that. And Paragus felt some type of way about that, and he called King Vegeta out. And when they shipped off Broly, Paragus ran off to go after his son, and then they both had got trapped on the planet. So that was pretty interesting. So we got a different aspect of King Vegeta in that regards. And then of course we had Bardock. A lot of people are not really fans of this version of Bardock, is because it seemed like they took a mixture of the two different versions of Bardock. It's like they took some aspects of Dragon Ball Minus, I believe it's called, which is Toriyama's version of Bardock's story, and this version of Bardock is much more, I could just say, more kind-hearted a bit, and he's more heroic compared to how the Bardock especially was back in the day in Dragon Ball Z. How he's much more ruthless. He doesn't really care much about, you know, his son or his comrades and stuff like that. So he's totally different. So he has that noble soldier / hero archetype to his character, and they, like I said before, they took both elements of Minus and the Bardock special and put it together to pretty much create his character. And the thing was with Bardock pretty much had this notion that something wasn't right, is because Frieza had gathered all the Saiyans in one location, and he felt as though that when he heard that Frieza was asking around about this legendary Super Saiyan, Bardock had put together that maybe Frieza's trying to get rid of him, because he was saying that his army has gotten so powerful that the Saiyans, even if they got rid of the Saiyans, Frieza's army would still do good without the Saiyans. So he had this hunch that the Saiyans, that his people was going to get pretty much wiped out. Which brings in another character that people were waiting for, which they hinted in the teaser or the trailer itself, was Gine, which is Goku's mother. This is the first time we actually see her in animation form, because in Dragon Ball Minus, they pretty much introduced her in that. Toriyama pretty much introduced his vision of her in that one. So they didn't really give us much of her character, but we do get enough to know that she's a loving mother. She loves her son. It's funny that she also mentioned about Raditz, how they sent Raditz out with Prince Vegeta and Nappa and the others onto another distant planet so they can pretty much take that planet over and everything. But it was interesting to see that she is a caring mother. She's not a fighter like how Bardock is. She's more so a meat butcher and everything. And you was able to see the relationship that she brought to the table, or the relationship that she had with Bardock, which is pretty interesting. Which also gives you the personality of what Goku can turn out to be. Which I said, they pretty much retconned a lot of things when it comes to this. So I thought it was pretty interesting. And the fact is that since Bardock knew that, or had a hunch that Frieza was going to pretty much wipe out the Saiyans, it was a perfect time for him to try to ship Goku off to a distant planet. And Gine was really hard struck on, like, no, don't send our son away, he's too young and everything. But Bardock said, hey, if I'm wrong about this hunch, we can just go to planet Earth and get him back, and it's that simple. But of course his hunch was correct, and they end up getting wiped out. So we did get somewhat of a backstory for Gine, and we did get a different twist on Bardock. Now Paragus himself, a little bit things changed to him compared to the original Broly movies and everything. This Paragus, of course, he's still hell-bent on revenge, and because of what Prince Vegeta has done. And what I liked about this the most is that they pretty much did this much differently than they did the original. It pretty much kept Paragus' hate towards King Vegeta and his son Prince Vegeta, opposed as the original, that Paragus and Broly's hate was more so centered to Goku, which didn't make sense in the original. So I'm glad they corrected that. Paragus was loyal to King Vegeta. That was another thing that really got him angry and upset at King Vegeta for what he done to him, and he done to his son Broly. And he also cared for his son Broly, but his rage and his anger and his revenge against the Saiyans and against the king himself pretty much kept him kind of distant from his son. He was much more harder on his son. He didn't really show that much affection to his son, but you can tell that he still cared for his son, but he was so hell-bent on his revenge. So he was kind of like seeing his power that his son had, and wanted to utilize that power to get back at King Vegeta. Now, the most interesting character to me in this movie was Broly himself, is because this character did a total completely 180, which I really like, because they pretty much humanized Broly in this movie. He became a very humanized character. I actually felt sorry for Broly, because he was the type of character where he didn't get a chance to be a child. He didn't have the childhood, and plus most Saiyans don't really have a childhood. When they're young, they get shipped off into planets anyway to destroy and take over and conquer and stuff, but he didn't get a chance to gain any type of connection with people at all. So he was kind of like, even at that adult stage, he was kind of like still like a child. He had no time to show, he had no affection was shown to him or anything. And the only thing that he did, which was quite interesting, you know, that fur pelt that he have around his waist that he showed in a lot of advertisements, he showed in the trailer and his designs and everything, there was actually a backstory behind that, and it was very precious to him because another character went to go touch the pelt, which I'll get into that character in a bit. He really felt emotional about it and got angry when the person touched it, and it's because it meant something to him. When he was sent away on this uninhabitable planet, he wound up becoming friends with this creature that was trying to kill him the whole time while he was on the planet as a child. He wound up befriending the creature, and he wound up resting, playing with the creature and everything. And the father, Paragus, had seen Broly pretty much becoming a caring character, a character that wanted to show affection, show love, and he's seen that, yo, like, I can't have my son have these type of emotions because it's going to damper or weaken the power that he has inside of him, and I can't have that get in the way of my revenge. So what Paragus did, he shot the creature's ear off, which angered the creature, and the creature tried to attack his father. Broly still loves his dad regardless of how his dad treated him, so he had to end up killing the creature because of that, because he was trying to attack his father. So that pelt is pretty much the air that was shot off of the creature, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So it gave us some backstory, and I really love what they've done with this. And he also resembled the Incredible Hulk to me, which I'll get into further details about that, because when he got into the fight with Goku and Vegeta, he was very like savage, like the Incredible Hulk. Even down to his fighting style, it was very savage like, and I thought that was pretty interesting. It was really, really cool, and he got stronger and stronger the angrier he got, and he got bigger and bigger the angrier he got, similar to the Incredible Hulk. And it seemed like maybe Toriyama took some inspiration from that. It's a lot of similarities there, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then we're gonna move on to Frieza, which I thought Frieza, I know a lot of people some people getting sick of Frieza. Frieza's pretty much the villain of a lot of the most current Dragon Ball films so far and stuff like that. But Frieza wasn't really the main, like, I guess you could say, antagonist. Broly was, but Broly, I wouldn't say he's an antagonist at all either, but Frieza was pretty much the vehicle that pretty much wedged this fight and everything to happen in the story. Now, why Frieza was in the film was because he wanted Dragon Balls. Now, Frieza's motives were kind of silly in this, but then again, it's Dragon Ball, so you have to expect some Dragon Ball comedy or some Dragon Ball humor. Now, the reason why he wanted the Dragon Balls was because he wanted to use the Dragon Balls. Now, a lot of people thought that he was going to wish, his servants thought he was going to wish for immortality, or wish for something that would make him stronger and stuff. But Frieza now experienced what it's like to train, to power up and become stronger, and wanting to be one step ahead of Vegeta and Goku. So he wants to work. He wants to work for his power and strength. So immortality wasn't the thing for him anymore. He didn't want to become immortal anymore. He says no fun of being immortal if you can't die. You know, it's no fun. What's the point of getting stronger if you can't die, and all this other kind of stuff that he said in those words or whatever. So the thing was, his wish, he wanted to wish that he grows a bit taller. He wanted to be a bit taller. One, he was tired of people calling his servants calling him Pipsqueak behind his back. And two, he was tired of being short himself. So he wanted to grow, but so much. So it's noticeable that he grown, but it's not like drastically that he's grown and stuff. So he wanted to do that to increase his height, which I thought was pretty silly, but it's Dragon Ball, so oh well, just run with it, just ride with it and stuff. But Frieza, of course, to me, like I said, he's like the Joker of the franchise. Like, he's the character that, you know, that Batman wants to kill the Joker, but he knows he can't because of, you know, certain elements and stuff like that, and it goes against his character and everything. So Frieza's kind of like that too. And Frieza, he's still ruthless as ever, because Frieza's the driving force to why Broly becomes this legendary Super Saiyan, or he powers up into a Super Saiyan for the very first time, is because he killed Paragus. Now, what I found interesting was, since he'd been fighting Saiyans for a very long time, Frieza, they gave Frieza a flashback. He had a flashback of him killing Krillin on planet Namek. and he knew that that was the thing that triggered Goku to turn Super Saiyan. So when Goku was getting the best of Broly, he's like, yo, this fight is gonna be crazy. He said he much rather them wipe each other out, these Saiyans wipe each other out. So he turned around, looked at Paragus. I said, oh no, oh my god, he's gonna kill Paragus to make him turn Super Saiyan. And that's what he did. He turned around and killed Paragus, shot him right in the chest with a laser, killed him instantly, and then said, oh, and then said to Broly, he said, oh my god, listen, he said, during your fight, a ki blast from Goku randomly hit your father and killed him, and that's what triggered Broly to go into a whole another level, and it just got ridiculous. It got out of hand and everything, and I thought that was pretty cool. I think it was pretty intense and ruthless, and it really angered me. I really got angry at Frieza, but Frieza got what he deserved after a while. After Goku and Vegeta had to retreat for a bit, Broly lost control and took his anger out on Frieza and started just destroying Frieza. And Frieza thought that he could handle him by going gold, but gold wasn't even enough to stop Broly. And so I thought that was pretty funny. The next character I want to talk about is Chile. Not much was really on this character, but she was still an interesting character. From what we know, she was part of the Space Galactic Force, and she pretty much transferred and became a Frieza soldier because she didn't want people to bother her or follow her or go after her. So they figured if people hear that she works for Frieza, for the Frieza Force, that they would leave her alone. Yeah, Galactic Patrolman that she was. And not just that, as we started watching the film, I started seeing that she could be a potential love interest for Broly, is because when she met Broly, they saved Paragus and got Paragus and Broly off the planet. They was introduced to Broly and everything, and he was never seen candy before, a chocolate bar, and she was feeding it to him and stuff like that. And I could see that she was taking a liking, and she was like intrigued by him and whatever like that. So I started seeing that, hey, there may be something that may develop later on with this character. And she was the character that I meant to mention that touched Broly's pelt, that got Broly even more emotional and stuff. And she's seen how Paragus had pretty much used that device to pretty much shock him, to keep him under control, and she felt sorry for Broly, and she didn't like the fact is how his father treated him and everything. So she stole the remote and crushed it and everything because she wanted Broly to be himself and everything and stuff. So I started seeing that emotional connection that's going to me, I think, may develop later on in the future of the Dragon Ball series between those two. So I think that's pretty interesting. And then you have Lee Moon. I think Lee Moon. He's another character. I thought he was pretty cool. He pretty much was introduced to Chile. They pretty much traveled together, and that's how they stumbled across the beacon, the stress beacon that led them to Paragus and Broly. I think he's another pretty cool character that I believe they can flesh out more later on. Not much was given to his backstory, and he also worked for the Frieza Force, so those two became a team. And for some reason, when I was watching the film, I said I could see those three, actually Broly, Lee Moon, and Chili, being a team together sometime in the near future. And then of course we have Piccolo. He was just used as a beacon. Because like I said, the fight between Broly and them was intense, and Goku and Vegeta had to retreat. So Goku used traced the Piccolo's power level to instant transmission to him, so they can regroup and learn and teach the fusion dance to Vegeta. So Piccolo was just only there for the whole fusion dance thing and stuff like that, which I don't know. So I mean, Piccolo wasn't really there that much, and it's crazy how they advertised Piccolo a lot in the advertisements on the website and stuff like that, but he wasn't really used. But the thing was, Piccolo knew his place. He knew that he would be in the way, and he even said that himself, that he wouldn't be much help anyway. So I'm not really sure if he was really necessary for the film. As far as other characters concerned, there was no Krillin, no Android 17, 18, no Gohan, Roshi, or Tien, or Chi-Chi, or Goten, or Yamcha. Kid Trunks was shown in there, along with Mai, and the other minion characters. They were there for a quick appearance. Not much after that. As far as locations are concerned, Planet Vegeta was very well drawn together. The vision of Planet Vegeta was pretty cool. Also, the planet that Vegeta, that Broly and Paragus was left on, was pretty cool, and they had some cool creature designs on that planet as well, which I thought was pretty unique. That added to the lore itself. But there was not really other mini locations to the movie. mostly half of the movie, the first half of the movie was just Planet Vegeta and backstory and the planet that Broly was left on, and then the last half was left in the Antarctic. The last half of the movie, like the last 30, like the other portion of the movie was just in the Antarctic of just complete fighting and everything. So before I close out, I also want to get into this subject about the Saiyans. I really like what they've done with the Saiyans. They changed a lot of elements, like I said, about the backstory of some of the characters, some of the Saiyans, and also with the Saiyan lore, they also dug more deep, talking about their abilities and they had latent abilities, and some of these Saiyans can have dangerous abilities where that can be devastating to the universe itself and devastating to the Saiyan race. So what they do is they wipe out those type of Saiyans, or they ship them off to an uninhabitable planet, which they did to Paragus, because like I said, Vegeta and King Vegeta and Paragus had this type of they still had this type of respect for each other. So instead of, like I said, instead of killing Broly, he sent them off into an uninhabitable planet. And also they also, which was pretty interesting, they also confirmed Vegeta's brother Tarble. So Tarble's now canon. He's no longer part of a non-canon special that they had back in a few years ago. They literally mentioned that Vegeta, Raditz and them mentioned that, hey, Vegeta, don't you have a brother? Yeah, Vegeta has a brother. So Vegeta brother Tarble is now canon. So there could be a hint that we could see him later on in the near future. So who knows? They could be setting up a lot of things, which I think is be pretty interesting. Also, like I said, Raditz was also showing a much younger Raditz, and it also showed that he really don't have much care for his brother Goku at all, because when they found out that planet Vegeta was destroyed, and they said, hey, I think your brother was on that planet too, and he said, oh, well, what the hell, doesn't matter. Nappa was showing he had his hair at the time and stuff, so I think that was pretty cool. I also love what they've done with the animation as far as the Super Saiyan is concerned. They displayed how powerful Super Saiyan still is, because when Goku and Vegeta, especially when Vegeta transformed to Super Saiyan Goku, oh my god, when Vegeta turned to Super Saiyan 2, the way the animation displayed their power, that Super Saiyan is still something is a force to reckon with. Like Paragus, when Paragus sent Broly to fight Vegeta, when he turned Super Saiyan, Paragus said, what is that? Like, what is that ability? And so Frieza said, wait a minute, so your son can't turn Super Saiyan? And he said, Super Saiyan? He said, I thought that can't be real. It's just a myth. So it shows that Paragus is so far behind the times. He was so isolated from the rest of the world that he knew nothing about the Super Saiyan transformation. And he realized that, hey, I may not even get my revenge now. I made a mistake. I sent my son to his death. And because I sent them out there, and Prince Vegeta is putting that work on my son Broly, and I felt sorry for Broly, because Broly is just swinging. There's nothing he can do. Vegeta was just piecing him up. It was just putting that work. It was giving him that treatment, and it was nothing that Broly can do. But Broly was adapting, and when Vegeta realized that Broly was adapting during the fight, Vegeta, what I like about Vegeta's character and how much he matured a lot and grown as a character, he realized that, yo, like, I can't play with my food anymore. When things start to heat up, he said, yo, I have to put this cat down. This cat is learning as we're fighting. So I gotta turn Super Saiyan. I'm turn Super Saiyan God. He ain't turned blue yet. He turned God, and it was nothing Broly can do at this one point. But he just kept adapting, like how Incredible Hulk does, which I thought was pretty interesting. Thought was pretty cool. I thought was pretty funny. But that was pretty cool. And then Goku, Goku also displayed that he's still pretty much stronger than Vegeta, because Super Saiyan God Vegeta had a hard time with Broly at his base form. Base Goku was still able to hold against base Broly, compared to how Vegeta had to go Super Saiyan God to fight Broly. But it was crazy, as each and every time he was fighting, he just kept getting stronger and stronger. And then of course Gogeta's now canon. They also hint and teased at us that Goku was trying to go Ultra Instincts, because as he was transforming, the silver color started coming in, and then he started transforming, but then he turned Super Saiyan Blue. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But now Gogeta's canon, and he turned Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, which I guess is one of the most powerful Dragon Ball characters canonically right now, which I thought was pretty interesting. But we won't be seeing the last of Broly, because at the end, Chile took the Dragon Balls, made a wish to send Broly back to the planet where he was dumped at, and then she got on the ship with Lee Moon to go find him. and I knew that was going to happen. So now all the three of them are now living together on the planet and stuff like that. And Goku pretty much visited the planet because he's able to sense his power and found Broly, and he pretty much had Bulma give him a capsule and gave him a home, gave him some food and stuff. And he said to Broly and Chili and them, said, I would love to come and spar with Broly every once in a while because he's a very formidable opponent. And plus, if it's okay, he said to Broly, I would love to teach you things about your powers being the Saiyan and stuff. So I think he's going to really show him how to utilize probably God Ki and everything. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting. But I have a feeling that Chile and Broly is pretty much going to be a couple, and I think Chile is going to be the reason that Broly may something that the father feared, that if he gets emotionally attached, it may weaken him just a bit. And that's what I think may happen if they're going to plan on incorporating Broly into the series in the near future, because this guy is extremely powerful. But I don't know much about power scaling, but I believe from what I'm looking at here that he's pretty much more powerful than Jiren. That's all I can say. But that's pretty much it for this pretty much this overall movie. If Dragon Ball Super Broly was symbolized as a person you love, and the two of you had a passionate night together, this would pretty much be one of the most orgasmic moments of your life. Like, this movie, like, as far as the action concerned, like, it's very, very intense. You're going to come out of the theater sweating. Like, you're going to be satisfied. I'm telling you that now as a Dragon Ball fan. You're going to be super satisfied. So I pretty much give this film a 9 out of 10. And the reason why I don't give it a perfect score, because it still had its hiccups as far as pacing concerned, because they decided to go all story at the beginning and then all action. And the thing is, I love the action in the film, but it was just so much of it, no breaks in between to implement other story elements and stuff. So I wish instead of them doing first half story, second half action, I wish they just mixed it together, had some story elements and character development, some action, and they do the pacing like that. But instead they did one half this and one half that. They also kind of like skipped out on a few elements on Bardock, is because it seemed like some of the Bardock elements they did mix together, Dragon Ball Minus and the Bardock special, and I wish they would have made it, still would have showed the struggle that Bardock had and the fight against Frieza and everything. He kind of like skipped ahead on that, which I thought was pretty disappointing in that aspect. But other than that, it was a great film. So that's pretty much my review of it. 9 out of 10. I really enjoy it. I'm going to see it again with my bros again over the weekend, and if I'm bringing a few others who haven't seen it yet, and we all gonna go see it again at the theaters. That's how much I enjoyed it. I love the visuals. I love everything about it. It was one hell of an experience for Dragon Ball fans. If you're an anime fan, Dragon Ball fan, you definitely need to go check it out. So that wraps everything up. I hope you enjoyed this review. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you have seen the movie, I'll definitely like to hear what was your favorite parts of the movie, who were your favorite characters. Was it enough story development for you? Was it enough action in the film? I want to just hear everything what you like about the film. And if you haven't seen the film and you just wanted to watch the review and stuff, tell me what you think of my overall response and my reaction to this movie. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And also, if you like this video, make sure you pretty much like the video, share it with some friends, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified of when I upload more videos in the future. This is Mugen Lord signing off. See you Game Fiends later. Peace out. It looks like you reached the end of the video. Well, while you're at it, check out some of my other discussion videos by clicking on the annotations below, and don't forget to follow me on other social media platforms to stay up to date with future content. Signing off.